Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E Streaming. It's Saturday and it is Daytona week, and we are here for the Duels tonight. Yes, we are getting ready for the big race tomorrow, and tonight we are getting ready to, set the grid up and get everything started for the weekend. I'm, as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, with me. Joining me up here in the booth tonight, we have Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Hey, good, mate. Good. Looking forward to step one of the 500. So be interesting to see who can get in and set that inside lane up.
Absolutely. And leading that inside lane tomorrow is the pole sitter for tomorrow's race, Mr. Edward Foster. The Godfather is back and he's up here in the booth tonight. Ed, how you going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Interested in actually checking out one of these races from the outside. Never had the opportunity to sit on the front row before, so I've always kind of been in them. So yeah, it's going to be cool to be able to sit back and watch these other boys have a go at it.
Absolutely. Anyone you want behind you for tomorrow's start of the race, or are you just focusing on getting away clean and making it to the end?
Oh, look, what's that they say about best laid plans and all that? You know, you can't make a plan for the 500. What happens, happens. So this will be a good indicator for us tonight, just to get an idea of who's quick, who's not, and see what the tactics are like. We've got, I think, only one two-car team out there tonight. I think I'm right in saying that. Oh, no, we've got a couple out there, so we'll actually get to see how they work together as well.
Absolutely. Teammates always crucial. And in the duels, it can be a great help indeed. Getting ready to get the grid set for tomorrow's Daytona 500, brought to you by Neuropower, of course. A big thank you to them jumping on board for this season. So it's going to be a duel race. And if you're new to NASCAR, if you're new to ovals, the duels are basically, it's just there to set the grid for tomorrow's race. It's going to set the inside line. And these guys are going to be racing to try and get themselves a good grid position. We'll be going to duel number 2 after this as well, which will be setting the outside line. But they are starting to get ready, starting to grid up now. So let us run through the cars that are out there for tonight's race. And on the front row, it's Ben Vickers and Lachlan Urquio. On the second row, we have Ruben Phelps and Dave Douglas. Row number 3 sees Shane Bowen and Norman Clark lining up next to each other. Brett Campbell next to Jamie Nankervis on row number 4. Tristan Koch and Steve Hoppett on the 5th row. And lining up at the back, Christopher Tomlin, getting ready to see if he can work his way up the pack a little bit, get a good starting position for tonight's race. Of course, 60 laps tonight, so enough to just be an annoying amount of fuel needed.
Yeah, sorry, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, they should get one fuel stop in this and make it home on the second lot of fuel. Ed, you'd be able to tell us a little bit more about that. What are you looking for in this first stage? Are you looking to save fuel, or do you kind of sort of want to go out and get it?
It really depends on the approach. I think a lot of the guys are going to be trying to really figure out what their cars are like in traffic. So you may see a few guys sort of dropping back, working in the draft, working back to the front, etc., just working on that. But the thing that's kind of exciting about tonight is the fact that we haven't got anyone really on the bubble who's going to miss the race. Like, all of these guys are going to make the 500 for tomorrow. So they can afford to, they don't have to play it safe. They can all afford to take chances, go all out, rub panels, go 4 wide if they want, all the rest of that. So they've really got nothing to lose, just a bit of starting position tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to be cool to see how aggressive they get, I think.
Yeah, definitely. A few changes since last year. We got Jamie Nankervis going from the Ford Mustang over to Team Toyota. So that's interesting. I was talking to him late last night, and he was disappointed with his qualifying time, but he said the car is good in race trim. So keep an eye on him.
Yeah, time will tell, I guess. We'll see towards the end who's quick and who isn't, and who's still got some work to do.
Yeah. Well, you can't count out Dave Douglas and Lockie and Ruben Phelps up there at the pointy end. So, as you said, Ed, it's going to be interesting to see who's got it tuned in for the race.
Okay, race picks then. Who are we going for?
Ruben.
Dave.
All right. Well, you just took my 2 picks. I'm going to go Ben Vickers.
He's got a good chance starting up there. We know he's got a good quick car as well from qualifying, but it's going to be to seeing who's got the race car tonight as the green flag drops and we are away for this race 1 of the Duels for the 2024 ANZCAR season, the ANZCAR Crown Jewel event, of course, and we are away. And a good start up the front by Vickers. We are a little bit lonely up on the high side at the moment. There's quite a few cars dropping low.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I think it shows a little bit to do with how SRM are getting themselves set up. They don't look as though they're too worried yet about linking up. But as I say that, Ruben gets right up in front of his teammate. So I did expect them to try and make that move quite early, and then they didn't look like they were going to, and now they have. So they're lined up together.
And look at that high line moving along, absolutely flying past Ben Vickers there. Ruben Phelps moving his way up. The low line starting to link up now. A good, strong low line. Dave Douglas right behind Vickers, giving him a good push in the early stages. And, well, we've seen how fast the cars are in qualifying setups. Now it's the race setup, and we get a good idea of how people have got these cars worked out. Of course, open setup for this race. So a lot of little tweaks and a lot of little things you can do to get a better race car in race setup.
Yeah, and that's one of the things as well that it differs a lot on super speedways because you're going so much faster in a pack. Like you expect when you're racing that you're going to be in a pack most of the time, so you set your car up for that. And one of the things that you notice is, like, say for example right now as they're running down the back straight together, they're not fully all up to speed, they're not bump drafting real hard as yet, and they're sitting on around about, you know, some 300 k's an hour just over, whereas in qualifying, you know, 293, 294 is what they are at. And what that means is your car's hitting those turns a lot faster than it was previously. So if you're running your car super low, like a lot of guys like to do in qualifying, oh, we've got a hit there. I think
got a hit. Norman Clark having a bit of avoiding action as Ruben Phelps and Lachlan Urquio, they got together. Ruben just had a little bit of a bad bump from Lockie and it offset the car, and that's knocked Shane Bowen out of the pack there, and that's going to be painful for the 308 as he's lost the draft completely, and he is going to have a long, lonely race from that position.
Yeah, if that caution doesn't come out, he's in a bit of trouble, unfortunately. He won't get that back without it. So anyway, it's yeah, unfortunate for him. A little bit of a wobble sort of cost him. It wasn't really his wobble to start with, but that's often the case on these super speedways. So yeah, just as we were saying before, if somebody's running their car really, really low in qualifying, it might be fine for going around the corners at 290 k's an hour. It might not be okay when you're going 20 k an hour faster than that through the turns. You know, there's more sink, there's more compression on the suspension, and you can be dragging your backside before you know it. So there actually is quite a lot of difference between the way something might be trimmed out for qualifying versus now.
I was just going to ask you, a lot of the guys in qualifying run around here in fourth gear. That also restricts the speed a little bit. But these things have got 5 gears and they're definitely up into the 5th gear now.
Yeah, certainly. It depends how you got your car geared for qualifying. So most of the time you're gearing it so your top gear is the one that you're in. You want the acceleration of having a slightly shorter ratio rather than running fourth, I think, normally.
Yeah, as you said, everyone thinks it's just get in and turn left, but there's a lot of different things that you got to concern yourself about. Like as you said, the setup and everything. A lot of these guys are doing setups themselves now.
All right, so taking a look at the pack as it sits at the moment, we've got the 2 SRM boys leading the line exactly where they want to be. This would have been exactly what they wanted. Of course, leading the line does consume a little bit of extra fuel, so they could be looking at a slightly longer pit stop, which could cause them some issues later on down the line if it runs green. But their strategy is obviously to lead, and that's what they're actually doing there at the moment. Vickers is just tied in behind them. He gave them a nice little nudge down the back straight last time. And they're sort of looking too wide behind. There's a bit of a high line forming outside, led by Norman Clark. I think that's Jamie Nankervis in there behind him. And there's a third car in that line as well. So they could, yeah, we'll see if they can build up some momentum working against those 6 cars on the bottom. And just noticing as well, Shane Bowen, Steve Hopper is actually fallen off the back of the pack as well.
I think Steve just lost the pack a little bit after that moment when Shane Bowen was sort of going a little bit sideways. He lifted off and it just dropped him back from that pack, and now he's running out there all on his lonesome up on that high line. You've got Clark, Douglas, and then Curvis up there, and Douglas at the back. Always useful to have number 10 Dave Douglas behind you on a super speedway. He is quite good at pushing the cars and getting a little bit of extra speed.
Yeah, there's a few guys out there that are pretty they really enjoy the super speedways and put a lot of work into it, and Dave's one of those. But yeah, there's a few guys out there that are very, very good at pushing. JCW is an underrated pusher. I've had him behind me before. He's quite good. Most of the guys in my team are quite good. But yeah, Dave's pretty handy. And certainly Jason Martin as well is absolutely, yeah. He saved both our bacon at Daytona one year when we fell out of the draft, pushed us right back up to the back of the lead pack. So I can speak very highly of his abilities too.
Yeah, it's always a tough position to be in, and it's a lot of work pushing somebody along. Speaking of drivers that have had a tough day, Brett Campbell, he's had a busy day. He did the official today, and he came second in that. So big congratulations to him. But that gives him a little bit of you might say a little bit of an advantage for tonight, as he's done a fair few laps so far in the Cup car. This could just give him that little bit of confidence to try and get that one step higher in these duels.
You know what else that proves? His car's good.
Yeah.
So you don't finish second in the official ones without a decent car on you, and he's proving that again, sitting there in P4 at the moment.
Definitely one of the dark horses to watch out for tonight, and he is going to be hoping for a good run. He's got Tristan Koch just behind him at the moment, Christopher Tomlin sitting there in 6th position. All three of those cars making up some positions at the start as well. Just behind them is Dave Douglas, Jamie Nankervis, and Norman Clark, and they've all gone single file at the moment. Norman's just looking to see what he can do at the back, just poking his nose out, getting some fresh air into the car. But usually at this stage, it's going to be a little bit single file. Everybody's just going to be settling in, getting ready for the latter stages and making their way to the pit stop mainly.
Yeah, they do that. You do see, certainly in the early parts of these duels, you quite often see that, although Norman Clark looks as though he's taking a little bit of a solo run on top. I can't see that working too well unless somebody gets up there to join him, but he's just kind of running around up the top on his own. So that's probably not going to help him move forward, and he has tucked back in. So I think the SRM car is going to be quite happy where they are. They qualified quite well. They seem to have pretty good speed at the moment. So I think running where they are is going to be, I think they're going to be quite happy with that for the time being. How eager anyone else to lead, or perhaps they're looking at fuel saving, hopefully get that shorter pit stop. If they get a green flag pit stop, of course, if we get a caution, that throws all of that out the window. But not uncommon for these little 60-lap duels to actually run caution-free as well. So definitely got to have that in the back of your mind.
I've watched Norman's car there, guys, and he just seems unsettled on that low line through the turns. So I think that's maybe why he's jumping up onto that mid track racing line. So that's one thing just to keep an eye on.
Yeah, well, if your car's really got to be good all over the track. So if he's having some issues running on the low line, even in a pack of, what are we looking at, 9 cars at the moment, that's not good. So that doesn't bode well for him for the 500 at all. And we've got Ben Vickers just making a bit of a move to the outside. He just was having a look. I think he started to get a little bit of a run. He was thinking about potentially trying to put the side draft on Equijo there. Thought better of it and has jumped back in, but he's having another look. I think he's just trying to encourage someone to go with him, but the best way to encourage someone to go with you is to actually hang back a little bit, maybe actually generate that run so everyone can see that you've got the energy, you've got the run, and then you can sort of push the outside, encourage some guys to go with him. But if he's going solo, he might be able to side draft Lockie, pull him off the back of his teammate there. But then Campbell's right there as well, and he'll just push him right back to where he was. So, and then Vickers will be hung out on his own on the outside. So, that's going to make it a little bit tricky for him. If he's going to make that move, he needs a run, and he needs someone to have the faith in him to go with him. Just having a look towards the back there, you can see an outside lane starting to form again, and it's Nankervis, Douglas, and Clark by the looks of it.
Yeah, up on the high side, they're getting a good run starting to come along now, and it's good to see a little bit of racing here rather than everybody just following single file. Just listening over to the race radio, and I think Steve Hoppett and Shane Bowen are looking at linking up with each other at some stage, trying to get themselves at least a little bit of speed. Those two have fallen off, dropped about 34 seconds back from the pack now, but
Douglas's car's dropped out. He's disappeared. He's not there anymore. Oh no, there he is. He's come back. And that really broke up that outside lane that was forming. They were just starting to get a good bit of momentum, and Dave's had a flash out there. So yeah, he's back, but yeah, he's definitely lost that all the momentum that outside lane had.
Yeah, good to see him recovering and getting back from that. We know that was a bit of an issue last season as well. Hopefully that does not come into effect. But they get a good run on the high side now.
Yeah, a bit of crossover there because Vickers jumped to the outside and then Curvis went to the inside. Then they've swapped, and Vickers has gone back down and Nankervis has gone back up. And now I think it's Tomlin pushing Nankervis on the outside. Be interested to see if anybody else joins that little run. I think Vickers looks like he wants to go. Like, he's had a couple of really good looks now, and he needs someone to be there to go with him. He keeps poking his nose out, and he's sort of saying, guys, come on, come with me. Let's make something happen here. But everyone's being pretty conservative at this point.
It's always tricky to try and work together on a super speedway when you haven't got each other in the same sort of channel. As Vickers does jump up this time, gets linked up to Douglas, but then drops back down again. Just didn't look like he was comfortable there for a couple of moments. Douglas up on the high line now, trying to push along, and they've got a good group of cars up there now. This could be an opportunity for them.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Vickers didn't stick with that. There's quite a good line going up top, and when you build the momentum up top, you can make that lane run really, really quickly. So he kind of pulled up in front of him, and I'm surprised he didn't stick with it. I would have thought, as eager as he's looked to go, that he would have done so, but he's just kind of hanging at the moment.
And they're coming up to Bowen and Hoppett now, so this could be an opportunity for some cars to try and do some gymnastics, try and use a lapped car to get a little bit of a draft or see what they can do here. And we could even get 3 wide if they're sticking 2 wide at the moment. But it looks like the high line's starting to get some real momentum there. Dave Douglas getting up in front of Ruben Phelps now, getting his nose ahead as they will quickly close in on the rest of those cars. And it is coming thick and fast. And I think Tristan Koch maybe just dropped off the back there.
No,
Brett Campbell.
That's Brett Campbell, yeah, he's just sort of dropped off the back of that pack there, so he'll have the hammer down at the moment, really trying to pull that up. He's going to hope that these lap cars might check up this front pack a little bit, but yeah, it's going to be a big ask. He's in a bit of trouble there. He really needs to get his head down and go, and I think it is too late for him. I think he's actually lost that draft, so he's going to be another one, sort of probably working with the Bowen and Hoppett queue there.
Yeah, he might be in some luck if he can link up with those 2 cars or get a couple of people to help, but it looks like Bowen and Hoppett are going to be linking themselves into the main pack now, and that's going to be a hard luck story for Brett Campbell, as he is going to fall off the back of this pack very, very quickly now. Up the front, it is Dave Douglas.
Yeah, Dave's up there in the lead, and they made that high line work, and they managed to sort of pull down in front of everyone else, but I just don't know if we can get a shot of the front of the Quijo's car. There's some damage on that. As far as I can see, I know he was giving his teammate Ruben Phelps some really big pushes there for quite a while, but it looks as though potentially one of those was a little bit hard or something else happened, because he's just got a little bit of damage on that front bumper and grill area there, which is not what you want around here. If you've got to be carrying damage anywhere, you don't want it to be right dead centre there on the grill.
Yeah, he gave a fairly hefty bump drive to the back of his teammate, and it really, really damaged the front of that car. So that's going to be painful for him being up front in the lead now.
Yeah, I mean, he can be all right. Like, if he sort of shields that area, like if he stays up behind somebody else and he shields the area of that car from the air, then he can get away with it. The problem will be if he ever wants to lead the thing. And that can be difficult, you know. You need to be able to lead at least some of it if you're going to win. So it's going to make it difficult for him to push out in front.
Looks like the 2 SRM cars dropping down to the low line. They were thinking about giving Bowen a bit of a push, using him as a well, it's a little bit of a wind blocker up front and trying to get themselves back up to the lead, but it wasn't quite working on that high line, so they've dropped back down low, and we've got single file once more for this pack.
Yeah, it's an interesting tactical battle at the moment, isn't it? Like, I would have thought that if they gave the run with Bowen there at the top a good enough opportunity, but I'm a little bit surprised they weren't able to make it work. 3 cars up there should have been able to normally do something and present at least a reasonable sort of threat, build a little bit of momentum and so on. But I think, like Aquajo, you can see he's just fallen off the back of his teammate a little bit. Vickers feinting to the outside again. He's doing that a lot. He's sort of feinting to the outside and then dropping back in. He never seems to really commit to it. So I'm not quite sure why. I would have thought that... I was thinking before he was looking quite eager, but maybe he's just kind of trying to psych other guys out. I don't know.
As he jumps up now behind the pack. So he obviously didn't want to lead it. He was trying to get somebody out there and then get in behind him by the looks of things. And he's done that now because Ruben Phelps and Erquio up there and Shane Bowen on the back. If those 4 can link up, they should be able to get a good run here and maybe get themselves towards the front.
Yeah, we haven't talked too much about Chris Tomlin yet either. He started right at the back of this field. He's up there in 3rd at the moment. So he's made a few good moves, chosen his lanes well, obviously, made the right moves at the right time, and managed to drive from the back of the pack almost to the front.
Yeah, doing a good job of management tonight and keeping himself in a solid position. And Norman Clark's managed to get himself back up in the pack as well, and that car's looking a little bit more settled now as well, which is good news for him. And once again, that high line just sort of stalling out a little bit, and they've dropped right to the back of the main train of cars this time round, and it just does not seem to be working for them up there.
Yeah, it's been difficult. The one time that you've actually seen the top line really get going is when you had Douglas and Curvis and company working up top there, and they made that move, and that's how they managed to get up there into the lead. But apart from that, there's been a few efforts, but no one's really stuck with it for that long. You know, they've kind of got out there, they've hung around for a couple of laps, but it takes longer than that to build the momentum up. You know, you really need to get up there in a group, get yourselves organised, and then just give yourselves the chance to build that momentum up. As we see Vickers just popping out of line again and popping back in.
He's constantly trying to get somebody to work with, or he's just wanting to get a little bit of air in the car or something. He just always seems to be just keeping himself up there. And Ruben now getting a bit of a run behind him, looking to go low and squeeze Vickers actually up high here. And he's going to do it and squeeze Vickers out of position. That little feint just cost him this time round, and Vickers is going to drop right to the back of his queue.
Yeah, well, he effed around and found out, didn't he? He'd been sort of feinting that way for a while. It was only a matter of time before someone's taken advantage of that and stuck it right down his inside. So he'll be all right, though. He's just hanging on the back of the pack now. He's got to be in there behind Bowen, who managed to sort of recover, and he's definitely in that lucky dog spot. Now Vickers making a serious move to the outside, not wanting to be in behind that lapped car, but he's going to have to do it all by himself.
Question for you, Ed. With the car moving around like that, I know you don't normally look or concentrate on behind you, but is that unsettling when a car is diving in and out of that low line? Because you can see that in the mirrors. Just wondering how unsettling that is for a person that's in front of the car like that.
I don't think it's too bad. I mean, there's always a little bit of an issue when you're not sure what someone's got to do, what someone's going to do. I mean, when you're running in a pack, you always want to have a fairly good idea of what everyone's likely to do. And when you're not quite sure what someone's up to, it can be a little bit off-putting. I wouldn't think it'd be as bad for the car in front as it is for the car behind, because you never really know, can you stick your nose there? Is he getting out of it? Is he what's he actually trying to do? So it can be a bit of a issue when you're behind, but in front, not so much, I don't think.
So just glancing at the speeds at the moment, the leaders up at about 308, 310 kph, and the cars that are sort of stuck out there on their own, Brett Campbell and Steve Hoppett, down in the 288 287 range, and that is so painful when you are just going around in a super speedway, just out of the draft. It feels like you are going. It feels almost like you're stationary sometimes, I swear.
Definitely can. And keep in mind now as well, we're only around about 10 laps, maybe a little bit more away from pit stops. So these cars generally, if you're running out front the whole time, running wide open the whole time, about 35 laps you're going to need to come in for fuel. So these guys have shared the lead around a little bit, I'm sure there's been some fuel saving going on in that pack as well. But yeah, some of these guys are going to need to come down for fuel fairly shortly, I think. Definitely within the next within 15 laps, everyone's going to have to be in, put it that way.
And green flag stops are always difficult on the super speedways. You've got to get that car stopped and slow down in time, and then get it back out, and try and get it back out with a decent group of cars as well. And that can be one of the trickier things. If somebody just brakes a little bit too hard coming into pit lane, you can lose an awful lot of time from the on-track position. Or if you come in a lap too soon and everybody's still in a pack, you can also lose a fair bit of time as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just having a look at the YouTube chat. We've got a couple of Valve esports fans in there, so sitting there patiently watching their boys and cheering them on. And also a shout out to Mr. Roger Clark, the man, for those who don't know, who actually started this thing called ANZCAR all the way. It's got to be about 8 years ago now that we first had those very first conversations about starting this whole thing. Son of Norman Clark, of course, and was a competitor with us for a long, long time as well. So, yeah, good to see him sitting there in the chat, and hearty hello to you, mate.
Always good to see Roger out there, and hopefully none of us are on his list. That's the main thing.
We all made his list at one point or another.
Ruben Phelps getting a good run up high with Pio behind him, and Vickers as well, and they're starting to get a good run up towards the front. The momentum's coming in their way. Will they be able to get there towards this as they go across the tri-oval, or will they start stalling out? We're going to find out soon.
They're making a good fist of it.
He's looking good. Will we see Phelps drop down in front of Douglas, or will they just have to settle in? And it looks like that momentum's starting to stall out now, and the low line is starting to run away with it.
Yeah, but take a look. The low line's broken up a little bit. The top two cars are quite close together. Tomlin's kind of in there. He was quite close. I think he's getting quite close again, but there's a bit of a gap there to Norman Clark, and that's going to be sort of just hurting their speed a little bit. And if those two SRM cars and Vickers up there can get themselves hooked up, they had a bit of a wobble, bit of a break up there, but if they give themselves a chance, they can really make this move. So, Vickers has bailed on it, so it's just going to be those two SRM boys up the top, and I think they're going to have to concede defeat on that one, drop back in, and start plotting another move. Also, they don't want to be caught on the outside when the pit stops start, because you can't pit from the outside lane because, well, there's cars in the way. So there they go, dropping back down to single file, and wouldn't be surprised to see them run like this until the pit stops, which are going to be getting quite close now.
And they're about to come up to Brett Campbell and put him a lap down. So unfortunate for Brett. Let's hope he can get onto the back of this train and keep running.
Yeah, he'll try. I mean, it's a lot easier, although it is considered quite rude to stay on the bottom lane and let the pack sort of go around you. Then you can almost always sort of pick up that draft and join up with the pack. But you learn some enemies doing that as well, because the lead pack doesn't like to have to jump up and go around you. It's not so much of a problem when they're single file like this, but if they're running 2 and 3 wide, you could cause some absolute carnage by doing it. So the polite thing is to get out wide, exactly as Campbell did there, and let everyone go and then try to tack onto the back of the pack, which it looks like he's been able to do. But yeah, certainly easier if you stay low, but a lot ruder as well.
We've had our first pit stop. Steve Hoppet's had to come in. He's been doing a lot of running on his lonesome, which can chew up the fuel a little bit, and he has popped down the lane and taken his stop. So should be able to make it to the end from here, but that's just a painful night so far for Mr. Hoppet, and that's going to drop him probably down another lap as well. He'll be 3 laps down as the pack catches up to him. So he'll be hoping to try and get some luck later in this race. Brett Campbell's going to be racing against Shane Bowen now, trying to keep himself in front of that car, just in case that caution flag flies.
One thing though, Carl, and it is good to see Mr. Hopper back out there having a run with ANZCAR. He doesn't really like the next gen cars, but he's come out and he's dusted off the cobwebs and having a good go at it.
Yeah, long-time competitor, Mr. Hoppet. He's got his own, does YouTube streams of his races too quite often over there on his channel Quasi Esports. I think he's on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. So they're always a good watch as well. So yeah, go and hit those up if you get the opportunity. Probably won't be the best one to watch on board this one, seeing as he spent most of his time on his own. But yeah, definitely a good time to be had.
What was it last night? He was saying 2015 or something like that. Early 20s that he joined the server iRacing.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm not sure exactly how long, but yeah, there are certainly quite a few guys. You forget how long iRacing's been around, don't you?
Yeah.
Goes all the way back to 2008, and the COT was the modern car back then. So, yeah, definitely a lot has changed, a lot's improved. But yeah, there are certain guys that have been here for almost that entire period, and you forget how long it's been.
Time flies as you're having fun, they say.
It's very true. And even when you're not. Even sometimes when you're not. But yeah, I mean, ANZCAR itself has been around since 2017, the late part of 2017. So, yeah, lots of drivers sort of passed through the doors in that time. But I guess our concern right now is the guys out there on the track together, and it looks as though Dave Douglas and Jamie Nankervis have got themselves a little bit of an alliance going. They've been sort of bumper to bumper with either one of them leading their little area most of the race. So I think that Jamie and Dave have tacked on together, and I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Tomlin has decided that he's going to nail his flag to that particular pole as well and stick with those guys. And SRM definitely got to be working together, and Valve as well. So yeah, we'd probably expect Norman Clark, although he's running as an independent in this one, but it looks as though he'll probably be at least in contact with Nankervis and might try to make something happen there, because you definitely need friends in this style of racing. You absolutely need friends. You can't do it alone.
Absolutely. You often find, former teammates are still very friendly towards you on a super speedway, and they can often be valuable allies in a race like this.
All right, so we're working lap 35 at the moment, and that's when you're going to need to be coming down pit road if you've been leading the line the whole time. So none of these guys have, so I think we'll probably see them eke it out to sort of lap 36, 37. They might, if people have been really ginger with the throttle, eke it out to sort of 40, but they're going to need to come pretty soon. So, and this is an entirely different style of getting on and off pit road. Yeah, you've got to slow down as late as you possibly can. Yeah, you've got to do everything that you can to get on and off pit road quickly, but it's all for nothing if the guys that you pit with don't do the same. You've got to come in together, and you've got to get out together.
It's always crucial to try and work out which part of the track you're going to be on as well, coming into pit lane on a super speedway. You'll often hear drivers saying they'll be going to the wall, sticking out wide, and trying to get that space so you can get in at the best possible time, and of course not make contact.
And the other big thing too, guys, is that you've got to remember these don't have retarders, pit lane speed limiters. That's all done by the foot. So the other thing you've got to be careful of is to hit that control line at the speed pit lane is. Otherwise, you'll find yourself with a drive-through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a joke to be made there somewhere about what these cars might have in them, but yeah, probably won't tell that one now. But yeah, we're getting very, very close to pit stop time. And yeah, Dave Douglas has just popped up his Twitch link as well, Twitch TV, DD's casting couch streaming there as well, apparently. So yeah, always a good watch as well. So give him a like and a follow and a few views, and yes, watch the race from a completely different perspective, if I can spit that word out.
Always good to get the views of the drivers. You sometimes even learn something when you're watching on board with them. Not all the time, but it does happen occasionally. And that looks like they're just starting to get a little bit wobbly, a little bit nervous. I think people are starting to think about that pit stop now. And I wonder who is going to blink first. That's going to be the crucial one. Got to say, probably Ruben Phelps and Dave Douglas are going to be early stoppers because they've led a fair few laps so far tonight.
Yeah, most of what you learn watching other people's streams is exactly what they think of you. I found. But yeah, certainly you can pick up some little pointers here and there when you see how the other guys, how the real good guys do it. But yeah, nobody heading towards the pits yet. I would have thought possibly that time around that they would have actually had to drop in. But as things run, nobody from this lead pack taking a stop yet. And I think everyone's going to run as long as they possibly can because nobody wants to pit alone. And this is where the leaders can be vulnerable.
Yeah, there's no worse feeling on a super speedway than coming in all on your lonesome and seeing that pack fly off away from you and keep up with the speed, and then coming back out to find yourself all on your own as well. So hopefully nobody is going to get caught out by that one as they come around. And it's like we're going another lap, and they are going to make it to lap 40 here. So really good fuel extending, and that's good information for tomorrow's race as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm not sure if potentially there's been an update to the car where the fuel consumption might have been adjusted a little bit or something like that. But yeah, certainly last year, if we were leading the pack, 35 laps and you're in. So the fact that these guys are running out there 40, as we say, can't tell how much fuel savings going on, but you can assume some. But we're going to have to see him in the box zone.
And just hearing over the radio from Dave, it's going to be next time round for the pit stops. So next time round, we are going to be heading to pit road, and it's going to go off. Who is going to make a mistake? Who is going to absolutely nail it? And who's going to get out in the right stage? Of course, probably won't see anybody swapping tyres, but that's always a crucial thing on the super speedways with green flag stops, Ed, is making sure you remember to click the tyres off. If you forget to do that, it can cost you a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, because they're only going to be putting about half a tank in to get home, so you can't take 4 tyres in that time. So the only thing you've got to be a bit careful of is coming to pit road with worn tyres, because they do wear a little bit and they heat up. So making that run off pit road, around the running lane and everything can be a little bit tricky, but we'll see how this goes. He's raised a question mark now in everyone's head. Are they going to come? Are they going to stick out? Looks like just about everybody coming down. You guys staying out.
Oh.
And yeah, everyone's kind of clean. So we've got Douglas, Nankervis, Homlin, Clark, a couple of others back there as well. Vickers and Tristan Koch all coming in together. The rest stayed out. So interesting. We'll see how these guys get on and off pit road. They're going to want to get off pit road together. If they're broken up and they're all separated, it takes them a while to find each other, they're going to be slow. And that's going to give the impetus to the guys who stayed out. But it looks like they've come off fairly well together. Vickers, bit of a long stop there. He's probably not going to be overly thrilled with that. He's going to have to get on it to make sure that he can hang on to that draft.
And Tristan Koch, he had a long stop as well. That is going to cost him 15 seconds in the box. That's going to be a painful one. Now the rest come in. Phelps, Urquio, Bowen and Campbell all coming in now for their stop. And I just wonder if Tristan Koch forgot to switch the tyres off, because 15 seconds is about that time.
About that time, isn't it? Yeah.
I did notice Jamie Nankervis and Norman Clark go up on the left-hand side jack. So they've taken left side tyres, and you can see there Ruben Phelps and Lachlan Urquio also taken left sides. So bit of a different strategy for the guys.
Yeah, and Nankervis has managed to catch up to that pack. I was a little bit worried that he was going to lose the draft. There was a bit of a gap, but Ben Vickers, he has fallen off the back there, so that bit of a longer stop has hurt him, and he has fallen off the back. We'll see if he can join up with any of these guys coming out of the pits to kind of save his race, but unfortunately he hasn't managed to stick it out with the guys that he was running with. And now here comes the merge. We've got the 2 SRM cars. They are free and clear, but they're still getting up to speed. It takes you nearly a lap here to get up to speed. So those guys who pitted the lap before, they are absolutely coming like a train now on the outside.
Yeah, Douglas and Clark working well together at the moment, absolutely hooning it along, and they are going to catch up to the SRM boys with not a problem at all. Good stop from Ruben Phelps, 8.3 seconds, so fastest stop of the night. Lachlan Urquio, 8.6 seconds, so both of them in the sub 9 second mark. Very nice stops indeed, but the 4 cars that were out there just had enough speed to catch up to them. As
Tomlin rims the wall.
Little touch, and again another little touch on the wall.
He looked like he was going to lose it then. I don't know what's happened, but that car's got the wall and stepped out. He's going to have to really bury that throttle in the firewall right now to try and catch back up and avoid losing the draft himself. A pretty bizarre incident, that.
It's almost like he just got caught up there and it just sucked him into the wall and he could not get out of it. And then it happened again. Hopefully he's at that awkward moment. I think he's still just within a shout of the draft, but it's going to be very, very close to losing it. But he has caught back up to... he's almost there. But now...
happy to see him going too wide because that's going to help him out. So that's going to slow down that train that was running away from him right there. Those two SRM cars pulling out to the outside, trying to make a move. They're making a good move on the outside there, but that may... And it punches a much bigger hole in the air too, so they possibly save Tomlin's bacon there.
That could well save his little bit of the race here. Hopefully the damage won't slow him down too much as well. But up front it is Phelps now in the lead with Urquio behind him. Dave Douglas, Norman Clark, Jamie Nankervis and Christopher Tomlin. He has got that draft, so he is catching up just that little bit there as we quickly throw up the splash screen as we just have a little technical difficulty.
Well, I'm still not comfortable for him. I think he's going to... They've lined back up now, and I think that potentially he's going to lose that draft.
Yeah, he's at that. He's right at
right in the bubble, isn't he?
I think he's about 0.5.
The absolute worst thing when you're in that scenario and you can just see him and you're just hanging on to him, and then they get out of range and you just feel your RPMs go, ugh, right, just down, and you're like, I'm done. I've dropped it. But no, it looks like he has managed to pull that back in, so that was as close as you'd want to get. But he's just saved his race there.
You almost start rocking in your seat, trying to make the car go a little bit quicker.
Yeah, definitely. But he's made it, so now he can kind of wipe his brow, consolidate a little bit, try not to touch the wall again, and look what's going on in front of him and start planning some moves.
I think he was just wanting to add a little bit of drama into the race, and he absolutely did great job getting back into the draft there, because I did not expect that when he had that moment, it looked like he was going to drop out, but he absolutely did what you said, Ed. Nailed the throttle, flew through the firewall, and managed to catch right back up to this main pack.
All right, so SRM, we've got 13 laps to go. And they are going to be watching their mirrors. All they're doing at the moment, you've got Aquejo who's just sitting there on Ruben's bumper, trying to make sure that he's able to give him the best push he possibly can without blowing his motor. Because when you deprive the front of these cars of air, that's exactly what happens. So it's something you have to manage. And then looking behind, you've got the quartet that have been working together almost all race long. So it's almost going to be a case of 4 versus 2. So what does that mean? It means SRM, they're going to be mirror driving. They're going to be watching every single little move, little wiggle, every dart. They're going to be trying to monitor everything that's going on behind them. For the guys behind, they've got a bit of an easier job because they can see everything out of their windscreen. I think it's pretty much a given right now that those 4 are going to go together when they do go. They've just got to decide when. And then it's a case of whether or not they stay loyal or whether they decide to start fighting one another, which could add another spanner in the works as well. So yeah, it's got to be interesting tactical game from now, and we're almost down to that final 10 laps when people start to set up their last plays.
Absolutely, and not forgetting Oquio's got that little bit of damage to the front of his car. It took a fairly big whack to the back of Ruben's car, and sometimes that can damage the radiator a little bit, so temperature could be an issue if it starts to play up. So hopefully that's not the case, but that could be something that comes into play in this race.
So as far as our picks from before, you two are still in fairly good shape. My man Vickers, he's dropped off the draft. He's 15 seconds off the pack right now, so I'm afraid I'm not going to win this little competition. But Rubes is still there, and Dave Douglas still sitting up there as well. So either one of them, as we look at the 2 Valve guys pushing to the outside, Jamie and Norman together, they're making a move, and Tomlin and Douglas haven't gone with them as yet. So we'll see where their loyalties actually lie now. This will be interesting.
who is going to jump up? Is anybody going to jump up there to give them a hand here, or can they get those cars working? Just with 2 up there, it'd be handy to have an extra car up there for sure. Just
If I was Tomlin, I'd be going with him.
Yeah.
In Tomlin's position right now, I'd be swinging straight out and going with him. Although he might not want to be next to the wall again after the last time, but yeah, I'd definitely be getting up in that outside lane and giving it some curry.
They are catching up to Steve Hoppett very, very quickly as well. Steve managing to get back a lap, but it's going to drop down again very, very shortly. 2 laps off, unfortunately, for Steve after losing the pack early in the race. Where is Steve going to go? It looks like he's going to be going up high. So we're going to be possibly seeing some free wide action here through the corner.
Yeah, Norman's smart. He'll just grab a little bit of draft off the back of Hoppett's car before squeezing down past him, and it looks like that has been enough to push him through to the lead. I'm still surprised no one else is trying that outside lane. It's going forward at the moment. I can understand the SRM guys staying where they are, but if you haven't got an alliance out there, like you haven't got any kind of team alliance like Tomlin and Douglas don't, I'm surprised they're not getting up there and giving that lane a shove. I really am.
I was surprised not to see Norman dropping down in front of the SRM cars there, because he had that gap, but he decided against it. Getting a bit of a practice run maybe with 8 laps to go. But yeah, as you said, nobody's really jumping up there now. They're all sticking down low. Steve Hoppett could jump up behind Nankervis here and give him a little bit of help. But just depends on what he wants to do, of course.
Yeah, the air doesn't know that car's a couple of laps down, so he should get up there and give him a shove. But yeah, I'm surprised that they're just kind of sitting station at the moment. I know Dave has got something in his head. He's definitely got a plan. He just might not be quite ready to launch it yet. He's just dropped off the back of the SRM cars, might be trying to generate a little bit of a run and maybe shoot straight up the middle there, but he's not going to do it just yet. See, the SRM boys really hooked up those 2 bumpers, and they're pushing themselves way away from the pack, but of course that's going to Constantina all again. They're kind of out clear at the moment, but this could give... There's a nice gap there now that Dave's going to be able to drive into. He's got Tomlin there for assistance, and if he manages to generate that run, he could shoot right through the middle. So we'll take a look. Not long to go now.
Yeah, if you get the run absolutely timed perfectly, you can get a good 10 to 15 kilometers per hour speed on the rest of the pack, and that can absolutely send you flying past the cars, but you just got to do it at the right time. If you do it too soon, then the cars that you passed will then pass you back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you can push out in front. It's great to be able to push out in front, but you've got to realise that that's going to open up the opportunity for everyone behind to get a big run on you. And you can see that outside run. Now that inside lane got broken up a little bit, that momentum had to die at some point. And now you can see Norman, he's just feigning to the inside. He was not clear. He wasn't even close to clear. And those 2 boys staying there on the outside. And nobody yet going out there to join him. It's... Dave's got to be launching something. Tomlin's dropped off a little bit again. He's got to get the hammer back down and get up there. And good news is, if Hopper gets in behind him, he'll be able to generate the mother and father of all runs from that far back. But looks like he might not be close enough. But SRM, they're still sitting there in front. They're doing what they need to do.
Yeah, SRM are hoping for a strong night tonight. They've got some good opportunities. They've got a fair few cars in both duels tonight as well. The 2 here, Ruben Phelps and Lachlan Urquhart, of course, they're going to be trying to get this first duel done. But what is the rest of the cars going to do? What's Dave's plan here? When is he going to strike? That is going to be the question. Can Jamie and Norman Clark do something up on the high line as Dave Douglas jumps up high now? Looks like he is going to be starting to work his way forwards with 5 laps to go. It is go time for Douglas as well.
Yeah, he saw the energy there on the top with the top lane. They'd really built up some good speed. He decided now was the time to go. So he's just lost on them a little bit, but he'll just be able to come back up to them. Now, the other question you ask is how defensive are SRM going to be? I know Rubes, he loves a block. Is he going to chuck one on that high line if it starts to come at him close to the end? We saw Denny Hamlin do something very similar to that the other day in the real life duels. Throw that big block to the outside lane, and that's what eventually opened the door for his teammate Chris Bell to come through and actually win that one. So is it going to be a similar type of arrangement here? Not sure. There's enough energy on that top lane, but the bottom lane's got themselves sorted out quite well. Tomlin working with those guys now, and it's going to be 3v3.
Yeah, and well, if Steve Hopper can sort of link himself onto the back of one of these cars, it could work. They're also catching up to
Tristan Koch.
Tristan Koch, yeah. So again, another car here, and that could just give that high line a little bit of a run here. Not quite working how they want it to. They've still got some energy though. They've got the momentum. They are moving forwards, and now Curvis is linked up to the back of Clark, absolutely pushing that car with 3 laps to go. It is very close stuff, running too wide. Douglas drops down low now. He's dropped back down low behind Tomlin. So he's sitting back there, 4th in the line, and that high line starting to choke out again. It's starting to stall a little bit, and they're all dropping back low.
Yeah, they're dropping back in. So couple of laps to go now. We're sort of 2.5 laps left as they come out of turn 2 here, and they're all single file. I guarantee you the last move of the race has not been made. It's coming. All right, it might wait until the last lap, but it's coming. Clark poking his nose out there a little bit, as Dave looked like he was going to go have a bit of a run. But yeah, perhaps the move will come on the last lap, but it absolutely is coming. And when it comes, they've got to get it right. It's got to be good.
It's all about that timing, isn't it? And it's so hard to do. It's as we say sometimes, it's like playing chess at almost 300 kilometers per hour. You've got to get those moves absolutely done correctly. You've got to get that timing right as well. There's so much to think about when you're driving these cars. Who is going to get it right? Who is going to get it wrong? We're going to find out very, very shortly. 1.5 laps remaining. We're soon going to see the white flag for this, the first duel of the ANZCAR Daytona 2024 race. And, well, who is going to take it? It's still anybody's really, but Dave is looking to run up high now. He's just moving up a little bit, trying to get that momentum. He's got Norman Clark, Jamie Curvis behind him. Looks like that high line starting to form up as... Ooh. Steve Hopper just took a big lick into the wall in the background, but he's still running okay. But that high line's got Tristan Koch now as well. 4 cars up there. This could be the opportunity they need, as the white flag will be coming out here. It's Phelps on the low line, leading the low line. Douglas on the high line. Who is going to take it?
Yeah, the way things are going, Steve Hoppert might take it. You know, it's been unpredictable so far. They could all wreck out, but hopefully not. We're going to see. Well, I mean, the white flag is out, so it won't happen that way. Talking rubbish. But yeah, that top lane definitely with a bit of an advantage at the moment. They just need to get themselves sorted out. Urquijo has been pushing Ruben really, really well this entire race long. Oh, he's hooked. He's hooked him.
Just as he said that, it's gone wrong.
That is the curse of the commentator.
But now Norman Clark's got a great run on the lead. He's got a great run for this duel, and it is going to be the 09 of Norman Clark taking victory.
Norman, out of absolutely nowhere, not only did he make sure that neither of you guys got your race picks, but he's come up there and absolutely just jagged that at the end, the wily old fox. And just as I was praising Urquijo's pushing, he's hooked his teammate into the fence, which, yeah, would like to be a fly on the wall inside SRM HQ. But Norman Clark with the win. Norman, Jamie, Dave Douglas in that order.
Wow, that absolutely staggering finish there. Great job for Norman Clark, a very popular victor there in the duels, taking the win for that. And Jamie Nankervis right behind him. They played that to perfection. We saw the SRM boys, they had a little bit of a moment earlier on when at the start of the race, remember, Lockie and Phelps, they just had a little bit of a bad bump early on, and it happened again at the end, unfortunately for them. But the first duel of the night is done, and the winner is Norman Clark.
He's out of practice on the burnouts, the old boy. These are fairly substandard, I've got to say, but I don't think he's going to mind too much. He's given up. He's going to go rip up the grass a little bit. But I think I'm right in saying, and I only think I'm right in saying, that this is Norman Clark's first ever ANZCAR race win, which is hard to imagine after all these years, but I think I'm right.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, that's Michael Waltrip numbers right there. But he's got right in there and he's jagged it at the same track as well, and under much happier circumstances, it must be said. So, yeah, can't wait to get him up here in the booth for a chat.
Absolute great stuff there at the end. So let's run through the finishing order for this, the first duel of tonight. And it is Norman Clark taking victory. He'll be starting right behind you tomorrow, Ed. So that's going to be nice for you.
All right.
Jamie Nankervis.
I'm totally joking, of course.
Jamie Nankervis comes in second with Dave Douglas in third. Lachlan O'Perry fourth. Fifth, Christopher Tomlin. Great run, up 6 spots himself. Ben Vickers in sixth position. Ruben Phelps dropped down to seventh. Eighth, Brett Campbell. Ninth for Shane Bowen. Tristan Koch 10th. And 11th for Steve Hoppett. So the first duel is done and dusted. And, well, we were treated to a fantastic finish of that race.
Yeah, certainly was. Yeah, had a few guys drop out of the draft pack, unfortunately. But the guys that were left, didn't they put on a show right to the very end? Yeah, really, really cool finish. Chaos, as you kind of expect. And that's got to be a very popular win, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Okie dokie. Let us start with the top three from tonight's duel. And we'll start with the third place finisher, Mr. Dave Douglas, the number 10. Double D Dave Douglas. Dave, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on the podium here at the duel. A decent finish for tonight's race.
Yeah, it was all right. Did some racing, learned a few things, ran at the front for a bit, went at the back for a bit, and ended up third and didn't wreck, so that's always good.
Always nice not wrecking, of course. We were talking about what your plan was for the finish, because we were sort of we were kind of expecting something from you there, and it looked like it was all coming your way for a few moments.
Yeah, it wasn't my initial plan. My initial plan was for Tomlin to come out and I'd push him, and then we'd both go to the lead because I want to be the second car on the last lap so I could go around the outside and take the win. But no one was going to go in front of me. I actually wanted to push someone further up, but no one took the option. So I thought, righto, if I get clear of Norman, I'll see if Norman can push me. So we did that, and we got cleared towards the end of there. But I wanted to stay high, but the problem was if I stay high, they go low. If I go low, they go high. So there's not much sort of double-edged sword there. So I sort of tried to hog the middle of the track there. He just got to my outside rear before I could go back up. So instead of wrecking everybody, I just held the line.
So good finish, and well, gave us some good entertainment there at the end. Of course, learning a few things for tomorrow's race. How are you feeling for that? You feeling confident?
Yeah, pretty good. Like I was able to push pretty fast. I feel like the car was pretty good, whereas other guys felt like they couldn't clear that inside line, but managed to do it once or twice there. So with a bit of help of lap cars as well. So I don't know exactly, but it feels all right. It'll be good.
Well, good luck tomorrow in the race, mate. Hopefully, we can grab you back up for a podium position, or maybe a couple of spots higher as well for the victory. Before I let you go, though, Dave, the usual thing: love, shout out, sponsors. People, go for it.
Oh, shout out to Norman, obviously. Big old dog. He's still kicking and fucking handing out ass whippings, mate. So he had to get one up on me. I stole one off him, so he stole one back. So now we're even. So hopefully we're racing again tomorrow at the front. But shout out to A1 Sim Sports, ANZCAR, all the admin, all the guys behind the scenes, putting in the time and effort. And yeah, we'll go racing tomorrow.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow, mate.
See you, boys.
Dave Douglas there for A1. Next up, it will be Mr. Jamie Nankervis. Jamie, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on second here in the duel.
G'day. How are we, guys?
Very good, thank you. And I imagine you're feeling pretty good about that result.
No, I was in a pain load of hurt the entire length. I had no pace at all. I don't know what's going on. I had nothing at all pace-wise. Yeah, but so we'll take that. That ended up a good result.
Well, for having no pace, second in the duel is not a bad finish. Did you do something to the setup? Were you tweaking things? Is that sort of something that happened, or is it just a bit of unknown?
I'm going to say it's unknown at this stage. I've got no idea why it's done it. Did it last night in quali as well. I don't know what's going on with it, whether it's a Toyota or what it is. Change a car, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, it was good. It was good little battle with that little group there right to the end anyway. So made it enjoyable.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look like you looked fairly comfortable behind other people, maybe not in the lead out there. So, and obviously, hopefully, you can find out what's going on and get it sourced out for tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Have a chat to somebody after this and see what's going on. But yeah, we did all right. Pushed Normie through there. At the end, he was going to drop down and leave me hanging there. I said, no, get back up here, Normie, and we can run on 1-2. So otherwise, he's going to jump down in front of Dave and block him there, which would have, I think, pushed Dave through to second. So I'm glad he came back up.
Absolutely. Good team working there at the end between you and Norman. Obviously, former teammates. The old psychic communications working well for you tonight.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's always will. Yeah, Normie and I always sort of seem to know what's going on, so that works out really well.
Absolutely. Look, a good result nonetheless, though, with Valve coming home in second.
Yeah, so no, that's it, mate. Valve Esports and everything simulated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jamie. Hopefully, we'll see you back up here tomorrow after the race.
All the best, guys. Thank you.
Jamie Nankervis there for Valve. Struggling a bit with the car, but still coming home in second. That is a good omen indeed. And finally, the man taking his first ANZCAR victory in the Cups and, well, in ANZCAR after 460 starts, I think Matt said. It's Mr. Norman Clark. Norman, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on victory here at Daytona for the Duels.
Yes, thanks, Carl. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, well, like I say, a wild squirrel finds an acorn once in his life, I suppose.
Well, you absolutely did it right tonight, and Roger was watching along tonight. Hey, obviously, the good luck charm.
Oh, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, yeah. At least I'm running his number, 09. Remember, he was always 09. So yeah, good on him.
Absolutely. Paid off tonight. Looked like you had some good pace out there tonight and some good work with Jamie as well. How was the car feeling?
Yeah, the car was good. I sort of thought it wasn't quite quick enough, really, because I think Lochy and Ruby, they were like playing with us, and I had no pace against them. But once Davo hooked in with us, then I had some speed. But for some reason, Jamie doesn't seem to have the speed. Like he couldn't get onto my bumper even with a draft, or the draft as we call it. But yeah, and then going for the win there, I was trying to push Dave for the win, to be honest. And then the next second when he went low, I found I was carrying more speed than him. And then I stayed high and got by him. And that's how I got the win. And Jamie P2, Dave obviously P3. So yeah, that's it, worked out.
Absolutely. Look, a solid result tonight for the Duels. It's got to give you a bit of confidence for tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'll make my way to the back and later on in the race see what we can do, I reckon. But yeah, looking forward to the big one.
Absolutely. Look, congratulations, Norman. Well done on the victory here tonight in the Duels. Hopefully, we can see you carry it on tomorrow, and might have to do some practice on the burnouts.
Yeah, I'm old school. I was actually thinking of just parking it in the middle there on that sort of patch where the winner stops, But yeah, I hear you guys. I'll work on it.
A bit of homework, Norman. Congratulations again, mate. Well done, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in no time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Norman Clark taking the victory for tonight. Fantastic result for the gentleman racer of ANZCAR, and a very popular victory there, Ed.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, he was my teammate for a number of years, and yeah, very, very happy to see him finally get that one in the win column. Deserves it.
Absolutely, Mark. Lots of action there in the race. Expecting to see something similar next up in the second duel.
Yeah, definitely some good drivers in that second duel. JCW, as Ed said before, he's definitely a good pusher. So there's going to be quite a few guys there that are going to be looking to replicate Norman's win.
Absolutely, and we'll find that out in, well, about 30 minutes, I think. Trying to work out where I am in the timing of everything now. This is always the fun part. About 30 minutes from now. So we've got a little bit of a break now between the two duels, of course. So we having a nice green race there in this first duel means that we've got a little bit of a break between this and the second one. So we will join you back in about 20 minutes or so from here for the second half of tonight's duel action.